Right now, I am about to play some Gears. I'm playing at the high preset. I'm not playing at ultra just because I'm not trying to max out my GPU. I'm playing on an ASUS Republic of Gamers GL702V as in Victor, S as in Sam. I purchased this from Best Buy Open Box back in December of 2017 for $900. You heard that correctly. I purchased this laptop for $900. This laptop comes with a GTX 1070, an Intel Core i7 7th generation 7700HQ. And the GTX 1070 on this laptop is a full GTX 1070. So I just kind of wanted to show off how this thing runs Gears of War. So I'm capturing this game on the laptop just using, the built-in Xbox, Microsoft game capturing software built into Windows 10. The only thing I really did to this laptop was I upgraded the RAM from the 12 gigs that it came with to 24 gigs. So it came with an 8 gig stick and a 4 gig stick installed. I took out the 4 gig stick and put in a 16 gig stick. So one slot is 8 gigs, the other slot is 16. It was a lot more cost effective for me to do that. Instead of buying two 16 gig sticks, I just ended up just buying one. So, I'm running Gears of War 4 at the high preset. Dynamic resolution scaling is off, so I'm running it, on high at 1080p at 60 frames per second, as you can kind of see in the top right. This game runs really well on the GTX 1070. I actually kind of feel like I have an edge on a lot of these opponents, a lot of these guys that I'm playing against, as you can see me die right here. But, the big thing for me about PC gaming is, I understand on the Xbox One X, you can essentially play this game in either 1080p at 60 or 4K at 30. However, with PC gaming, you can play this game at 4K at 60 if you wanted, or 1080p at whatever frame you can run. Now, my laptop has a 75 hertz refresh rate monitor, which I think is awesome. However, I think Gears of War gives you a couple different options. I know it's like 30, 60, 90, and then like unlimited, which is like an uncapped frame rate. Now, if you know anything about PC gaming, and for those of you who, don't have a PC and don't really understand it, or for those of you who are trying to get one, or for those of you who already have one but don't really understand the capabilities of your laptop or desktop, let's pretend that I did want to play this game at 75 hertz. So I go into the settings and I say, instead of limiting and capping this game at 60 frames per second, let's cap it at 90 frames per second. Even though my monitor will only see 75, my computer is trying to push out 90 frames. If we're talking a game that's as graphically intense as Gears of War 4, I am wasting my computer's resources over frame rates that I can't even see. However, if I had a 120 hertz screen, I could play this game uncapped. Remember, the higher the frame rate, the more your computer has to work for it. So I am playing on a GTX 1070, and this laptop can easily push out high frame rates. However, if I want to go even higher in frame rates, I need to purchase a secondary monitor, or I need to purchase a completely different computer with an attached screen that can do 120 hertz or 144 hertz. So with that being said, frame rates are an interesting conversation. Some people, the big craze right now is, frame rates. I want higher frame rates. I think that the jump between 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second is huge. the jump between 60 frames per second and 120 frames per second is not as big. Anyways, I want to go on to a different part of this video. So with this game, I don't really see a whole lot of people covering it. Like I said, I'm playing at high settings, no dynamic resolution scaling. This thing is pumping out easily 60 frames per second. Again, as you can see, with no hiccups. It's rock solid at 60. I think that playing this game on a GTX 1060 or a GTX 1070 at 1080p, you'll be playing very comfortably. I can play with ultra graphics, again at 60 frames per second, but since I'm playing online, I kind of dumb down my graphics a little bit because I cannot afford any type of stutter. Not to say that it will stutter, but I don't want to take that chance because, you know, I'm playing competitively right now. So I'm really pleased with this ASUS laptop. I know I got it open box. It is a GTX 1070 and it was $900. Now, with that being said, it definitely was a toss-up because this thing did have some scratches on it. What if the person returned it and had any problems or whatever? So if you can, you know, take I don't know, any type of computer course on understanding architecture, or if you already understand architecture and components, it'll really benefit you greatly. You can make out like a bandit with open box items and just maybe upgrade some components here and there. Like I said, I upgraded the RAM. I think one thing I failed to mention is I upgraded the traditional 7200 RPM 1TB hard drive with a 2TB SSD. It's a traditional 2.5-inch SATA SSD. There is one NVMe M.2 SSD slot on this laptop. I will eventually put in either a 1TB or a 2TB to have a total of anywhere between 3TB and 4TB of storage on this laptop with 2 separate drives. This laptop is a complete beast. I did have a Dell 7577 Inspiron gaming series laptop. I did give that laptop to my fiance. I think the GTX 1060 Max-Q was a fantastic graphics card. However, I did want a little bit more. I definitely wanted a GTX 1070 because with a GTX 1070 on this laptop, you can play some games in 4K. I think the sweet spot will be 1440p and 1080p, obviously. I think you can play 1080p games comfortably on this laptop for many, many years to come. Really on any laptop. I know that the Razer Blade 15 laptop just came out. That laptop is, I think it's anywhere between $21.99 and $25.99 in price. So either $2,200 or $2,600 basically, for a laptop that has a 1070 Max-Q. I mean, this has got a full-fat GTX 1070. My buddy Tony picked up an Alienware 15, I think it's an R3 laptop from Best Buy, and it has a full-fat GTX 1070 overclocked in it, and I know for a fact any of these laptops with GTX 1070s, they definitely outperform the Max-Q variant. Now, by how much depends on how well the manufacturer did the cooling, because I know that the Dell 7577 laptop definitely performed very closely to the normal GTX 1060 laptops that are out there, like the Acer Helios 300. So having a Max-Q laptop is not necessarily a bad thing. It's all about how the manufacturer kind of did it. But as I'm getting, I guess, close to the end of this video, I just wanted to show you all how well, you know, this game plays on a GTX 1070. I'm definitely pleased with the graphic performance. I definitely think that anyone who gets a laptop with a GTX 1070, or heck, even a 1060, you're going to be very happy. I think the misconception with a lot of people is they think that they have to get a GTX 1080, especially people who are not familiar with gaming. You can get away with a GTX 1050 or 1050 Ti. It just depends on what you want, what kind of games you play. I get a lot of people that ask me, oh, Danny, I want to play this game and this game and this game, and I think I need a GTX 1080. Well, first of all those games that you listed are like 3 years old, so no, you do not need a 1080. You can definitely get away with a 1050 Ti or a 1060. Now, how many years do you want to play these games at? Games that are current. And we're talking like games that are intense, like, you know, Gears of War 4 or Forza 7. These are the games that I play. I play Tomb Raider. I definitely play games that require a good graphics card. Now, with that being said, I do play some games here and there that don't require a ridiculous graphics card, like Lego Batman. I play that a lot with my fiance because I used to have a Nintendo Switch and she used to play some games like Mario with me. So I think that, you know, games like that are fun to play with a significant other or, you know, with somebody who's not really a big gamer. So I think that you can definitely get away with a GTX 1050, 1050 Ti, 1060. You don't have to spring for a 1070 or a 1080. Now, with the big craze also not only being, you know, high refresh rate screens, the big craze is also laptops that are thin and light that can also game. So what are people doing now? They're buying Max-Q laptops. So that means big, fat GTX 1070 laptops are cheaper than ever. Like I said, my buddy picked up an Alienware open box from Best Buy for $1,150 with an overclocked GTX 1070. I know that the new NVIDIA cards are coming out soon. That's what everybody's been saying for like the past year and a half. However, if you buy a GTX 1070, you're going to be very happy for many, many years to come. And I honestly don't think you can go wrong with it. Just be prepared. If you want to save money, you're going to have to buy a little bit of a heavier laptop. I'm big into laptop gaming. I used to think a Nintendo Switch was the only way to game on a mobile platform. Not anymore. We have reached the end of this video. I hope that you found it helpful. If you want to leave me a comment, feel free to leave one down below. Peace.